Okay, so here we're still working on the register page, right? And we can validate whether the username exists or not. It's taken. So let's work on the part where we can actually create the user if the username is not taken already. Okay, so let's do that. So that's going to be done by the controller here after we've found out that username is not taken anymore. Is not taken. We want to create that user. Yes. But currently it's using the old way of doing it, right? Adding it to the array in the local in the client, right? So let's re-implement that, and we already saw that the basic mechanism, right? The basic mechanism is to do the call on the service, on the local service, receive a then, right, from the service. And here's the response. Presumably, it's the actual user that was just created, right? That will have the actual user ID embedded inside. And when we have that user, then we can navigate. Okay? All right? And that user has an ID that was created on the server side. Make sense? All right? Okay, now let's move forward to the service, the create service. That is implemented right here. There it is. And we're going to refactor this by going to the URL, going to this URL, right? And following the RESTful guidelines, right? To create new instances, we used post, right? To be able to do read operations, we use get. To be able to, when we want to create new instances, we use post. When we want to update, we use put. When we want to remove, we use delete. Okay? So let's generate a $HTTP.post and the URL. Okay, we want to create this, right? So that if I run this, right, and I refresh and I try to register PO, notice that we get an error message saying that URL is not found. Right? You try to post this and it's not found. Right? Notice it looked for PO, it didn't find it, which is good, right? It was available, and then it tried to post that URL. But it's not found. So we need to go back to the server and listen for that incoming post. Yes? Right, so let's go to the server. So on the server side, we're going to listen for an incoming post. So post to that user. Right, so it's the same. Notice that they all end with user. See that? Okay. This one means I am manipulating the collection of users. Yes? What am I doing with that collection of users? Of all the users, I am reading it. This is saying, again, I am referring to the all collections of the user. What am I doing? I'm adding a brand new instance to that collection. Yes? Right? And this is a convention that falls in the umbrella of RESTful APIs. Right? When they say we're creating a RESTful APIs, is because they're following these conventions. All right? Okay, so what are we doing? We are creating a new user. So I'm going to use exactly the same user, the function names on both sides of the equation, on the client side and the server side, just to keep it straight in my head. Right? And let's implement function create user request response. Right? And here we need to retrieve the user from the request. Right? So var the user, we're going to retrieve it, right? We're going to retrieve it from the request. Now, the data, if you notice here, that when it was sent here in the post, the data was sent over. It should have been encoded here. Why is it not this? Anyway, it's encoded as part of the HTTP body, right? That's going to be sent over from the client all over to the server. Right? So we need to retrieve it from the body on the server side. Right? And to do that, we can say request.body. Right? Again, notice that all our all our inputs, right, are coming from the request side, right? The body, the parameters, the query, right? All these things are being passed to us from the browser. The browser is passing all this information for us, right? And it's all embedded inside this request object generated for us by the Express library, right? That parses the headers, the query, the parameters, the URL, passes also, you know, the any cookies, any timestamp or the IP address where this is coming from the client. It's all embedded in the request object. It's a very, very big object, right? It's full of really good information. Anyway, here's the body. Now, for this to work, this doesn't actually work out of the box. Okay, if you try to do this without any configuration, you will get undefined. Right, the body is undefined. For this to work, you need to configure in the server.js. You need to configure a couple of things. You need to load this library. Right, out of the box, Express doesn't know how to parse JSON out of the body. Right, the body could contain anything. Right, so you need specific parsers that know how to parse the body and extract it and convert it into the correct representation, right? So this library, body parser, is it's a standard Express.js library. You can read all about it if you go to Express.js, and if you go to their API reference, and if you search for body parser, there it is. You can read all about it, right? How to include it, how to configure it, and that's all I did. I copied this line and these 2 lines of code. Right, so I copied these 3 lines of code, right, and they're basically right here. Okay, this loads the library, okay, and this configures it, saying that parse JSON and from the correct data type from the application JSON data type. Okay, so this is what the client is saying. It's sending, right? It's sending the headers. It says this is of type application/JSON, right, and this is what's going to parse it from the body. Everybody okay? For this to work, you need to install the body parser library. Right? So you'll need to go to your terminal, right? And you'll need to install it. And why is my terminal not displaying? Okay. You'll have to do npm install body parser. Okay. -- save. Don't forget the -- save. Okay. This is going to download the library, install it locally. It's going to copy it into your local node modules directory. Somewhere, there it is. Okay? And also the -- save is going to make an entry in your package JSON saying that that package is now a dependency of this project. All right? That's going to be useful for Heroku when you deploy it on Heroku. Right? Heroku, when it will do an npm install, it will download and install all the dependency libraries. Yes? If you don't do that -- save, it's gonna work locally in your machine, but it's gonna fail on Heroku. Okay? And I know there's gonna be several Piazza questions later tonight saying, why is it running on my local machine but not on Heroku? And the first thing I'm gonna say, did you forget to do the -- save? Okay? All right. All right, there it is. So server.js is configured. Server.js is configured, and my user service server is receiving the user body. Let's echo it back, send it back to the client to see that it receives the same thing that it sent over. Right. So we can echo it back. Just send it back. Well, we know it's JSON, so JSON. We can send back the user object. We just read it from the body, and we're just going to spit it back to the client. Okay? All right. So let's refresh, and let's try this again. Right. So if we clear this out, we say po, and po, we register. Notice that it's no longer giving me a 404. Right. So if we go to user, it says it's okay. And then why is this not? Huh? Why is this? Oh, it's not encoding it as an application JSON. Oh, it is, except response content type. Interesting. Let me look at the source code. Let's look at the controller, at the register controller, and here we have a new user. Okay, let's try it again. Po, register. Okay, here's the new user. Here's new user. And let's step over that. We have new user, which has the password and the username. Let's step into create user, and we're passing that. Let's step in. There we are. We have user. Ah, yes, we forgot to do something. We forgot to actually pass the user object. Okay, let's continue. All right, let's work on that. So on the client, right, a post takes two arguments. Right, the first argument is the URL where you are sending the data. Right, the second argument is the actual data. Okay, and that's the data that's going to be encoded in the body. All right, let's try it again. Yes, we'll do that in a minute. Yep. Okay, so let's refresh. Let's clear this network, right, and say po register, and it's coming into this. We're going to continue, and in the network, notice that indeed that it echoed back the information that we sent. Right. Notice that we go to the headers. Notice that this is the payload. See that? This is what's getting encoded inside of the body of the HTTP request that we're sending to the server. Right, and the server is just spitting it back to us, right, verbatim. Make sense? All right. But it's a failing. Notice because we never returned anything. We didn't return the promise like you said. So let's continue here. Let's go on the server side. On the server side, what we're going to do is that we're going to add the ID, right? And the ID, we're going to grab it, new date stamp, get time, right? And we're going to add it to the local array. We're going to say users.push, and then the new user object. And once we've done that, we're going to return the JSON, the user object, right? That has the ID, correct? Has that new ID. On the client side, we're going to return this. Well, we're going to handle this, right? We're going to handle then function. Here's the raw response from the server, and we're going to unwrap it, right? And we're going to return that in a wrapped promise over to the controller, right? And the controller, let's see, is the controller ready to receive this? Yes, it's going to receive the promise. Is going to use the ID to navigate to the profile. Yes? All right, so let's try that. Let's restart the server. Let's come back here, and let's do po. Let's do enter, and indeed it went out and received the po. What was this? Not found. Oh, right. This is the error message that we were looking for this particular user, and we never found it, which is okay. And so now, right, if we log out, we should be able to log in as po, just like a normal user in the array of in the server. Everybody okay? Awesome.